I'm Darren Rhodes with the North Carolina Main Street and Rural Planning Center, a partner of Leverage NC. It's my pleasure to tell you about the successful Small Town series. In this series, we'll demonstrate that your community does not have to be big to be innovative and achieve economic success. In fact, any small town that focuses on 3 key ingredients can create successful projects that can be leveraged for greater economic growth. The first ingredient is strategy. Through an in-depth look at their local assets, a community is able to identify its unique qualities and how to leverage those assets for economic prosperity. This will provide vision and direction to grow investment, recruit new businesses, and create jobs. The second is partnerships. The public sector cannot grow the economy alone, nor can the private sector. The key to successful economic development is to leverage the public sector, meaning federal, state, county, and municipal governments, with the private sector. Think existing businesses and property owners, future developers, private citizens, and nonprofit organizations. This creates public-private partnerships that bring economic development strategies to fruition. And the final ingredient is champions. Champions are visionary individuals that may come from the public or private sectors, have a strong sense of commitment to their communities, and are passionate about the development of projects that improve quality of life, spur investment, and grow the local economy. In this series, we hope that you will be inspired by stories of small town success and learn lessons that will enhance the work you do in your community. So let's take a look at our featured small town, Elkin, North Carolina. Notice how it used the 3 key ingredients to achieve success, and consider how these ingredients can help you create great projects in your community. Now I'm going to turn this over to Laura Gaylord, Elkin's Main Street and Community Manager.
Thanks, Darren. Welcome to Elkin, a community with a population of 4,200 situated in the foothills of the Yadkin Valley wine region, 1 hour north of Charlotte. We'd like to show you 3 of our favorite projects that were catalysts for downtown economic development over the past 10 years. The Reeves Theater, the Liberty renovation, and the extensive trail system. Our first feature project is the Reeves Theater and Cafe. It was an empty twin theater on West Main Street that struggled for 2 decades to remain intact, when finally the right champions came along. With funding from the Main Street Solutions Fund, private donations, and their own private investment, the new owners brought this old movie theater and its beautiful Art Deco facade back to life. The Reeves is a key part of our downtown strategy to create an arts and entertainment district.
For decades, many small rural towns across America have been eroding. As a result of economic decline and shrinking populations, main streets are disappearing right before our eyes. There are some communities where citizens have joined together, forming partnerships whose primary objective is to save downtowns, one building at a time.
I think with downtown, what happened is really in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, the downtown businesses, all the grocery stores used to be downtown, all the appliance suppliers used to be downtown, all the jewelry, everything used to be downtown. Typical, moving out of the downtown central corridor into larger parking, larger spaces.
When the area's largest employer closed, over 4,000 jobs were lost. That translated to a very difficult time for businesses on Main Street.
So when the mill closed down after it was purchased in the 1990s, and after it closed relatively quickly after that, downtown, of course, was affected. Most of the businesses closed down, and it really was a really bad time for Elkin.
As a result, some downtown historic structures were neglected. Over the next 2 decades, nonprofit organizations and private citizens recognized that something had to be done, or those buildings would be lost forever.
I think the winery movement started. We started seeing ourselves as maybe a tourism destination, and people got interested in downtown. Local people got interested in investing in downtown.
The Reeves Theater was an iconic building in Elkin, but had fallen into disrepair. The roof had collapsed and its fate was in question.
We love the Reeves anyway, and it had been like this dead weight on downtown for so long, for 2 decades. It broke our hearts. We brought our children here to movies. When we started thinking about music and thinking about a place for music, when we heard that this was potentially available, we began at least dreaming.
Debbie and I had been talking about a music venue for a few years, and we'd looked at storefronts that came open downtown, and nothing really seemed just right. But that's what we were after, and then when there was a chance that the Reeves might be sold to become just a warehouse, we sort of said, we've got to do something other than that.
Well, we purchased it knowing we were jumping off a cliff, but we spent about a year just planning and getting permits and thinking about how to tackle it.
It was an empty shell. I mean, luckily some community groups had taken it over when the roof had fallen in, and it was full of ruined seats and fleas and pigeons, and cleaned it out and put a roof back on it, but there was really nothing here.
Retrofitting things in a building that was built in 1941 probably was some of the biggest challenges. The facade was a big challenge, getting all those pieces back.
Make it functional, but not as grand, not a full restoration, because we knew that we couldn't restore it or afford to fully restore it because everything had been lost. So we just thought about how to design it, repurpose it somewhat, not make it a movie theater exclusively, but a live music venue and bar and cafe.
The swing sets are empty like dirt in the dark of the night.
Smaller towns are perfect venues for a small theater, and most of them have old movie theaters or old vaudeville theaters too, and they have to raise the money to rebuild them, usually like they did for the Reeves Theater, and they end up being kind of the heart of the community. They revitalize the downtown, get people excited about music coming to their area.
I think music is a really big part of what we're doing and can be a really big part of all Main Street programs. I think it helps give a specific event for people to come out and learn more about the store, the business, the restaurant that's there that people might not have come to just on a regular day, but for a special event, it tends to bring more people out and be more aware.
The Reeves reopening played a vital role in partnering with many organizations in Elkin. Together, their combined efforts helped to successfully market Main Street as a tourism destination.
But what that does is it brings a lot of people to our downtown, and you might not realize that 3 new shops just opened, but you come down and you go to a show at the Reeves Theater, and right next to it is a brand new retail store that just opened, and you're like, I didn't even know that was there. So it not only gets community involvement, you could say almost every organization in our town has utilized the Reeves in some way.
The Reeves is one of the key building blocks that we have to rebuild downtown around our new vision.
It is worth it to find the people who want to renovate buildings and restore main streets to the hearts of their communities.
The buildings are, the bones. It's the foundation of what you have to rebuild your community around a new concept. And while that downtown Elkin used to be the shopping retail hub, it's now the entertainment dining hub. And without those buildings, we could never have reimagined and recreated ourselves into the vision that we have today.
In 2010, East Main Street had many empty buildings, and the iconic Hugh Chatham Memorial Bridge, which ran along the Liberty's tobacco warehouse structure, had just been torn down. Locals were devastated as downtown regressed with negative impacts. But this next project changed everything. With the formation of partnerships, the Liberty restoration was funded by the owner with help from local incentives, a building reuse grant, and historic tax credits.
That end of town was dead, quite frankly, and what little went on around the main square and the bank and whatever. And that end of town with the mill shutting down was dead. And to be honest, it came back to life first. When the Liberty was done and Angry Troll opened in that building, suddenly that end of town was booming and the other end of town was dead.
So luckily we had a champion, Cicely McCulloch, and she took a chance on it. She'd had businesses in downtown Elkin for 16 years or so, and she decided to take a chance on that building. She had a vision, and thank goodness she did, because believe me, the east end of Main Street was pretty barren.
Over a century ago, the Liberty Building was a tobacco warehouse. Discovering her own great-grandmother was a previous owner, Cicely was as passionate as ever to restore and repurpose this Elkin landmark.
You know, the Liberty was one of the tobacco warehouses in downtown Elkin, and back then I think there were 3, and Tobacco Harvest was a huge event. It then became a warehouse for a local grocer, and so for several years it operated as that, and then it was empty.
It really feels good to be able to keep something in the family, and to know that the Roth family did what they did for Elkin, and that here I am back in Elkin and doing what I can do to make Elkin a place that you'll want to live.
Once the decision was made to save the building, it didn't take long to discover that restoring the multi-level structure would not be an easy task.
Like any large building like that becomes, or is no longer in use, it just starts to decline. And that building had declined, I think, fairly dramatically. It was a haven for rodents and what have you, but there was nothing really else going on there.
This is a 30,000 square foot building. When I purchased it, I knew we needed a banquet space, because the only banquet space in the area, they were shutting down. Also realized that it couldn't just be a banquet space. It needed to have some permanent tenants. And so we decided to put a restaurant in the front, gift shop in the front, so that it would bring people here all the time, every day.
Taking this old building and repurposing it has its challenges, of course. It was completely a blank canvas. So my sister took this blank canvas and created what it is today. I just think the feel and the history that you feel when you get in here, it is unique.
Considering how the project started, compared to what it is today, it's been an incredible transformation.
Angry Troll is comprised of 3 departments. The main department is the restaurant we're sitting in now.
So Angry Troll restaurant really focuses on pub food. Wood-fired pizza is of course the favorite, and it's awesome, all the different varieties. The Philly cheesesteak is one of my favorite, and of course nachos are a regular thing to order before your food comes.
The second department is the brewery, which is right underneath us.
We add a lot to your community as far as a gathering place, fundraising. A lot of smaller towns having breweries move in, it just increases the amount of community involvement and kind of brings everybody together.
The third department is our catering division, which we have events in the back of this building, and we have weddings, receptions, corporate events that we cater out of this restaurant.
Well, it's a large event venue, and Explore Elkin partners with them for several events. We do our community gathering there, and we have our Explore Appreciation event there, but we partner with them throughout the year with several events. But it's a large wedding venue, so Elkin is becoming, with the wineries and with event spaces like the Liberty, has become a true wedding destination.
Repurposing historic buildings like the Liberty is an excellent economic strategy. Leverage from public and private partnerships led by community champions will result in prosperous communities.
What we wanted to do was to find a way to bring people to Elkin, to downtown, and how could we make it a better place that once they got here, they just didn't say, oh, look at, it's a cute historic downtown, but, it's still lacking something. So we realized that with redevelopment and restoration of buildings and, bringing other activities to the downtown, that really was what we needed to do.
I feel like somebody's got to take that first step. Somebody's got to encourage the next person to take that step. Everybody's got to be positive. Get as many people involved and convince each other that if we do this together, then we're going to make a big difference.
For our next segment, this concept is a different kind of vision, and it's not a business. Our extensive trail system throughout our town that connects outdoor enthusiasts to Main Street promotes Elkin as a popular trail town. Our champion for this project is the Elkin Valley Trails Association, a volunteer organization that schedules trail workdays, applies for grants, organizes fundraisers, and much more.
Well, we started with 3 main trails that were here in Elkin. It's a very unique spot. I don't think there's any other place in North Carolina where 3 major sanctioned trails come together.
Hey, ha, ho, hey, hey, 80 foot, 80 foot, 90 foot, no. Here comes a possum down the road.
Mountains to the Sea Trail, which is sanctioned by North Carolina. The second one was the Over Mountain Victory Trail, which is sanctioned, it's a federally sanctioned trail. And one of the first trails sanctioned by the state of North Carolina was the Yadkin Blue Water Trail, which is the canoe trail down the Yadkin.
In 2010, the Elkin Valley Trails Association grew from a group of concerned citizens whose primary objective was to help local leaders attract new businesses to the area. The trails made perfect sense to do just that.
What we're most excited about is the Mountain to Sea Trail, which the Elkin Valley Trails Association embraced the Mountain to Sea Trail, took over Section 6, and is working to develop that trail from Stone Mountain to Pilot Mountain.
They brought it to the attention to the town that, hey, you know what, we could really be a trail town. We've got great resources, we can build trails, we've got volunteers, and we're ready to make this change, and we'd love to start. So they began blazing trails, connecting downtown to the municipal park, through that on the old E&A rail trail, and their goal was to take downtown Elkin, connect it all the way to Stone Mountain State Park.
When the EVTA decided to bring the trails into downtown Elkin, it was a spark that was needed to rebrand the historic district.
We got busy and started building trail and more trail and more trail and bridges, and so they decided to route the trail right through Elkin. That was one of the original routes, and so it just happened to come right through the center of town.
It gave us a direction of what we could do for our downtown and how we could start to tell a new story.
Just from an economic standpoint, having the trails that come straight through town obviously helps put those businesses right in the front and center of the hikers that come through and people that are outdoor enthusiasts that are going to be in the area. They'll then see the restaurants and stores we have to offer.
From a travel and tourism standpoint, you want to be a destination. And we are suddenly a winery destination, a trails destination, and a general outdoor destination. And the trails are a key piece of that.
One of the first things we did was put "We Are Trail Friendly Town" stickers on the businesses' windows. We added a really cute photo opportunity on one end of Main Street, and it's a trail tree sign.
So all along our trail there, I think we have 18 multimodal QR coded signs that talk about the history of the town and the community.
You know, we have markers painted on the sidewalks downtown that's Mountain to Sea Trail markers. So as people through hike or as people section hike, they end up walking down Main Street to enjoy the Mountain to Sea Trail.
Our banners say "Explore Trails" and "Sip Elkin," just different things that we want to tell our story with the banners. Even our bike racks have a wine theme. Our murals tell our story with the trails. We have a beautiful mural that says Elkin Trail Town on it. And around the border kind of tells the story of what you can find on our trails.
In addition to the new Heritage Trails Center that's designed to accommodate all visitors to the Elkin area, there's now a festival that celebrates the accomplishments of this thriving new trail town.
In 2019, Explore Elkin partnered with the Elkin Valley Trails Association to host the inaugural North Carolina Trail Days as the North Carolina Trail Festival celebrating the Mountain to Sea Trail.
Our trails are beautiful, they're well groomed, they're clean. The Elkin Valley Trails has done a fantastic job bringing not only walking trails, but mountain bike trails, equestrian trails a little bit further north of Elkin.
It seems like in the summer especially, there's always multiple cars with like all the stickers of all the places they've been, plus like 2 kayaks and bikes on the back. Like you can tell they're here to really explore our outdoors, and that's really neat to see that our efforts are working.
We hope you learned valuable lessons from Elkin and will apply the 3 key ingredients to achieve success in your community. Leverage NC aspires to build economic capacity in every town and community across the state. So if you need assistance, please contact us. And we wish you the best in your economic development efforts.